Okay, let's dive into this. We're looking at a pretty intense Warhammer 40K battle report.
Yeah, Ultramarines versus Death Guard, right? 1,650 points.
Exactly, from back in April 2025.
Mm-hmm.
And the start. Wow. Just...
What happened? What was the big opening?
So picture this. Turn 1. The Ultramarines unleash basically everything they have with serious range.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking a Gladiator Lancer, that's the big tank hunter.
Right.
A Brutalis Dreadnought, Maximus the Heavy Hitter Walker,
Okay.
and a Ballistus Dreadnought too, all firing.
All at one target.
All focused on the Death Guard's Great Unclean One. And they dropped it first turn.
Wow. Okay. Taking out a Greater Demon on turn 1? That's huge. That
Right.
really sets the tone.
Doesn't it? Like, take out the star player immediately.
Yeah, strategically, that's got to hurt the Death Guard player. That's often their linchpin, you know. Super tough. Leads the charge.
So losing it that fast must have forced a major rethink.
Oh, absolutely. You've lost your anchor unit. Your whole plan probably just went out the window. It shows the Ultramarines really knew what to target.
Right. Identify the big threat, neutralize it fast. Classic Ultramarines.
Definitely.
And we've got the full play-by-play here, turn by turn. Plus, crucially, some lessons learned from the Ultramarines player themselves.
Ah, that's gold. Seeing what they thought afterward.
Exactly. So our mission for everyone listening is to break down this fight. We want to pinpoint those key moments, the smart moves, the unexpected stuff.
But without getting lost in, like, every single dice roll.
Precisely. We're hunting for those aha moments, the takeaways you can actually use or think about. I'll sort of narrate the flow, the big swings in the battle.
And I'll jump in with the why, the strategic context, what it means in the bigger picture of the game.
Cool. So let's set the stage a bit more. The Ultramarines. Who did they bring?
Okay, so the source lists a captain and a librarian, both in Terminator armor, tough leaders.
Right, plus a lieutenant. And the big man himself, Roboute Guilliman.
Oh, Gilliman's on the table. Okay, that changes things. He's a powerhouse.
Yep. And a tech marine, keeping things running. Troop-wise, assault intercessors, some Infernus Marines.
Flamethrowers nasty.
And a scout squad. Then the heavy metal, that Ballistus Dreadnought we mentioned. Brutalis, the Gladiator Lancer.
So a mix of shooting and close combat threats.
Plus more Terminators, the First Company vets, and a sneaky Kalidas assassin.
A balanced force, okay. And facing the Death Guard, known for being incredibly resilient.
Super tough, yeah. So, turn 1, the Great Unclean One is gone. What happens next? How did the Ultramarines follow up?
Well, they pressed the advantage. That Gladiator Lancer and Guilliman himself pushed hard up the left flank.
Okay, grabbing territory early.
Exactly. Meanwhile, the Infernus squad and the Brutalis Dreadnought moved on to the central objective, taking control of the middle.
Smart. Control the center, control the game, often.
Pretty much. A clear move to dominate key areas right away.
What about the Death Guard response? They didn't just sit there, surely.
No. A bloat drone, sort of a diseased floating gun platform, moved up, but it didn't last long. That Gladiator Lancer, the tank hunter, zapped it pretty quick.
Oh, okay. But the Death Guard had other tricks.
Oh, yeah. This is where it gets interesting. They used teleportation, a deep strike, to drop Blightlord Terminators right into the Ultramarines' backyard.
Oof. Right in the deployment zone. That's never fun.
Nope. Classic disruption tactic. Suddenly you've got tough elites right where you don't want them.
How did the Ultramarines handle that surprise party?
Swiftly. Their own Terminators, the First Company guys led by the captain, redeployed instantly to intercept.
Ah, Terminator versus Terminator. Heavyweight clash.
Exactly. They reinforced the Terminator librarian who was already holding the home objective, so an immediate counterpunch.
Okay, so action heating up everywhere. But wasn't there something else major in turn 2?
Yes, the really big arrival. A Chaos Knight. A huge tyrant pattern war machine.
Oh boy. Where did that show up?
On the Death Guard's right flank, which was the Ultramarines' left, and it didn't waste any time.
Let me guess. Big guns.
Big guns. Opened fire on the assault intercessor squad that was screening that flank for the Ultramarines.
Yeah, I know.
Wiped them out, just gone, except for the lieutenant somehow. Tough armor, I guess.
Wow. So suddenly that flank is looking very vulnerable.
Totally. That one unit just completely changed the dynamic on that side of the board.
So turn 2 ends. You've got Terminators brawling in the backfield, objectives being fought over, and this massive knight looming large. Feels like a real turning point already.
He really highlights the different approaches, doesn't it? Ultramarines pushing for objectives, Death Guard using deep strikes, and this huge knight for disruption and firepower.
Yeah. Okay, so heading into turn 3, what's the next big move?
Well, the Death Guard tried to capitalize. They hit the Brutalis Dreadnought Maximus, one on the center objective, with psychic powers.
Mortal wounds.
Yeah.
The ones that bypass armor.
Exactly. Softening it up, weakening the Ultramarines' hold on that vital spot.
And then the Knight?
And then the Knight. It moved out from cover, lined up its shot. Volcano cannon.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
That sounds bad.
Very bad. It fired at the already wounded Brutalis Dreadnought. The report says its armor just vaporized, obliterated.
Gone. Just like that.
One shot. That's what those super heavy weapons can do. A reminder of why target priority is so critical.
Jeez. Okay, so the Brutalis is destroyed. That's a huge loss in the center.
But wait, it gets worse.
Ow.
The Dreadnought exploded when it died.
Oh, right. Those things can blow up big time.
And this one really did. The blast took out, well, pretty much everything nearby.
Like what?
The Infernus Marines. Gone. Wiped out. Probably their own fuel adding to it.
Oh, who else?
The Scout Squad, the ones who'd been holding that objective since turn 1, also gone.
No way. They survived that long just to get caught in the blast.
Yep. And even some nearby Death Guard Poxwalkers got caught, too. It was chaos.
So that central objective is suddenly empty, and the Ultramarines lost multiple units.
Completely empty, yeah. Massive blow. The source notes actually say, and I quote, "This felt like the turning point and an inevitable Death Guard win."
I can see why. That sounds absolutely devastating. Like the momentum just slammed the other way.
It really does. A perfect storm of destruction from one night activation and a chain reaction. A major setback for the Ultramarines.
Okay, the center is a wreck. Key units are gone. Turn 4 begins. Things look grim. What do the Ultramarines do?
This is where Guilliman steps up. Big time.
The Primarch himself, what did he do?
Seeing the collapsing center, he makes his incredibly bold move. He leaves his cover on the left flank.
Uh-oh, with the Knight still active.
Yep, and moves towards the danger. Straight for the central objective, now held by Death Guard Plague Marines, and implicitly towards the Knight itself.
Wow, talk about walking into the fire. High risk.
Extremely high risk. The report even mentions the Knight took a shot as he moved, missed him, but just melted the cover he'd been in.
Close call. So he gets to the center.
He does, charges right into those Plague Marines.
And Plague Marines are tough.
Not tough enough for Guilliman. He apparently just cut them down, wiped the squad out with his Emperor's sword, one assault.
Okay, that's Primarch level power right there. Single-handedly taking back the objective.
Absolutely. Shows what he can do. But
the Knight.
The Knight wasn't done. Lined up another shot with the volcano cannon.
At Guilliman.
And this time, it hit. Brought him down.
No. Seriously. Even Guilliman couldn't take a volcano cannon hit.
Well, the report says it seemed impossible he'd survive, but somehow he did. He was down, but not out. He'd get back up.
Incredible. That's insane resilience. But still, being knocked down leaves him vulnerable.
Very vulnerable. The Ultramarines leader is down. The Knight is still standing. It's still looking precarious going into the final turn.
Okay, turn 5. The final moments. Guilliman is down, but not out.
Hmm.
The Knight is looming. What happens? This sounds like a movie finale.
It kind of is. Guilliman gets back up, shakes off the volcano cannon hit.
As you do.
Right. And immediately goes after the Knight, takes the fight straight to the giant war machine.
A lone Primarch versus a Chaos Knight tyrant.
Wow.
How did that even work?
The description's amazing. Guilliman, despite the size difference, is apparently dodging attacks, moving super fast. Then he uses his power fist, the Hand of Dominion, to cripple the Knight's leg joints, made the whole thing topple over.
It tripped it.
Essentially, yeah. Disabled it. But he wasn't done. He then punched through its reactor core.
Oh boy. Does that mean?
Kaboom. Another massive explosion.
You're kidding. A second massive unit explosion.
Our second one, just as improbable as the first. And the report specifically calls out how these two explosions just completely flipped the game.
Wow. Did this explosion take anything else out?
Yep. Shrapnel apparently hit some nearby ruins and wiped out the last of the Poxwalkers hiding there.
Unbelievable. So the Knight is gone, the Poxwalkers are gone. What's left?
As the smoke clears, just standing alone on that central objective he'd retaken.
And that was it. Game over.
That was basically it. He secured the objective, and with the Knight gone, the Death Guard didn't have enough left to contest. The only other Ultramarine survivor noted was a wounded Terminator librarian back in their deployment zone.
So, an Ultramarines victory, after all that.
A narrow victory, yeah. Based on objectives held and units destroyed, came down to the wire, literally the last turn, last actions.
That's an incredible story, from near defeat to snatching victory with Gilliman's heroic stand.
Absolutely. That solo fight against the knight, the resilience, and those two key explosions. Just a wild turn of events. It shows how one powerful unit, used decisively, can completely alter the outcome.
Okay, wow. So let's unpack those lessons learned the players shared. What were the big takeaways from this roller coaster?
Right, this is super valuable stuff. The first big point was about pre-planning.
Before the game even starts.
Yeah. Thinking through your doctrines, those army-wide rules, Space Marines get your stratagems, which are like special power-ups, your unit abilities, any oaths of moment you take. Basically having a solid game plan before you put the first model down.
Makes sense. Don't just react, have a proactive strategy. What else?
Some specific tactical things came up, like the benefit of charging from out of sight to avoid overwatch fire.
Yeah, that defensive shooting can hurt.
Definitely. Also, knowing the right order to fight in during melee and remembering rules like big guns never tire, letting vehicles shoot even when stuck in combat. Little details that matter.
Gotcha. Were there things the player felt they did well?
Yeah, they listed a few positives. The big unit kills in turn 1, that great unclean one takedown.
Right, the Alpha Strike.
Taking objectives aggressively throughout the game, using their doctrines effectively at the right time.
Yapping tactics.
Exactly. They also praised the scouts for grabbing an objective early and then reacting well later. And of course, Gilliman's impact was highlighted. Focusing fire on key threats was another plus.
So, proactive play, objective focus, using your tools smartly, sounds like good fundamentals.
Absolutely. Seizing advantages, controlling the board, adapting and leveraging your strengths.
What about the flip side? The things to improve. Always good to learn from mistakes, even in a win.
For sure. They mentioned needing a better way to generate command points. That's the resource for stratagems. Felt they were a bit starved there.
Resource management, always key.
Yep. Also, maybe could have saved the Calidus assassin with a specific tactic, but missed the opportunity. Realized they needed to track their scoring more carefully during the game.
Easy to lose track of victory points in the heat of battle.
Totally. And they noted needing better screening for their deployment zone early on, maybe using infiltrators or more scouts next time.
Protecting the backfield better after that Blightlord drop, maybe.
Could be. They also mentioned needing to reread some unit abilities and understanding rules interactions better, like realizing infantry can't physically block Titanic units like knights from moving.
A specific rules interaction they learned.
And interestingly, after facing that volcano cannon, they suggested maybe adding a Knight Castellan, which has a volcano cannon, to their own army.
If you can't beat them, join them. Or at least get the same big gun.
Pretty much. Learning from what worked against you, it shows that afflection, even after winning, is crucial for getting better.
So, boiling it all down, what are the overarching strategic lessons here that maybe apply beyond just this game?
Well, several big ones, I think. First, threat assessment is huge, identifying what really needs to die, like the Great Unclean One early or the Knight later.
Right. Prioritize.
Second, resource management, using your units, your command points, your abilities effectively when they matter most.
Efficiency.
Third, adapting to setbacks. The Ultramarines took massive losses, especially in turn 3, but didn't fold. They adjusted. Gilliman made that bold move.
Resilience and flexibility.
Exactly. And finally, that whole process of self-reflection highlighted in the lessons learned. Win or lose, figuring out what worked, what didn't, and how to improve next time. That applies everywhere, not just on a tabletop.
Absolutely. What a narrative arc, though. From that dominant start to being on the absolute ropes to this almost miraculous comeback led by Gilliman.
It really shows how dynamic these games can be. A few key moments, a couple of crucial decisions, maybe a bit of luck with those explosions.
Yeah, those explosions were wild. They totally changed the game state.
They really did. But it was Gilliman's actions that capitalized on them. Eliminating the Knight was the clincher.